Do you guys believe in the concept of beauty being objective or subjective?
I think it's a mix of both.
Okay. What do you think, Farah?
I would say it's more subjective.
It's more subjective? Mm-hmm. So I agree with you. It's more of a mix of both. I think there's subjectivity within objectivity, meaning like whenever I've hosted 57 bikini competitions at this point, and when I come up there and I don't talk to the judges about who I think is going to win, I go to the other organizers and I'm like, this girl's getting first, this girl's getting second, this girl's getting third, and I'm always right.
No, but here's the thing. But bikini competitions are also looking for, so what you just said, you're like 5'11" Ukrainian model. None of the guys I know would want anything to do with that. Like that's what I mean. Like for instance, like you were talking about fake tits. I have real tits, and the guys who like me love real tits. They think fake tits are gross. Probably guys think real tits are gross. So it's so subjective because like look at like hip hop music videos. They got the big booty, like blah blah blah, like women that look more like me, and then I don't look like a Ukrainian 5'11" model, and the guys who like me would be like, that's like a 4, you're a 10. Right. Whereas maybe you'd say the opposite.
So here's the thing. I talked to actually Dr. Buss when he came on my show about this specifically. And what he talks about is the things that are subjective are like, for instance, skin color, hair color, things like that. You know, girls you see in hip hop videos, that kind of stuff. He said what is objective is hip to waist ratio, signs of youth, facial symmetry.
That's not true though, because for instance, like if you go to African societies, they prefer a bigger, like they prefer more like my waist to hip ratio.
No, but you're proving my point. The hip to waist ratio one was 0.72 or higher.
Yeah,
but you have a higher than 0.72.
No, but that's the difference. Like I would be more attractive in a like a POC country than in Britain. But what they found is, like, for instance, they looked at Jamaica. I think it was somewhere in Africa where they had different preferences for face, and they wanted more intense waist to hip ratio. Then they moved to UK, and over a few generations, they preferred a little bit less. So there is a big cultural component here.
Correct. No, I agree with you. But what you're saying, I'm saying is 0.72 or greater, which you're saying the same thing I am. Because when we look at the hip to waist ratio that men find most attractive, and then we compare that, this is Gad Sad talked about this, professor from Concordia. Yeah. He said when we look at the hip to waist ratio that men found was most attractive. Here's the crazy part: they did this with blind men also. They had blind men haptically design the hip to waist ratio they liked, that it equaled about 0.68 to 0.72. And when they looked at the fertility rates of women, the ones that were most fertile were 0.68 to 0.72.
So you're saying there's a threshold, and then after the threshold, it becomes subjective, kind of, because you're saying at this.
Correct.
So kind of.
What I'm saying is
so much, like even height, like 5'11", like every guy I know likes short girls.
Oh, no, but actually for height, we didn't care. Like, for instance, whenever you do the delusional male calculator, the delusional female calculator, as men, we're just like height, and guys are like 4'11" to 6 feet tall.
When guys get on these shows, like rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, like Cardi B, like might be disgusting to some people, and to some guys, she's like, so it's so, I think there's such a big subjective component. Also, if you look at history, like I made this point on the Whatever podcast, like if you look at like the statue of Aphrodite, which is like the god, like she looks like now people would like, she'd want to get plastic surgery.
Okay, so there is some explanation for the reason of that, and that is because during times of famine, people preferred the images of fatter people. Does that make sense?
Okay, sure, but I'm saying if you just look at like ancient Egypt, all these different things, there's some that they have like big noses.
Right, but there's one where they showed a bunch of statues of thicker women in the 15th century, which was during the time of a fucking bubonic plague. Like there's, and you said
so
before,
the statue Aphrodite was only a thing during the
No. What I'm saying is when during times of food scarcity, you would see, and then you talked about you said POC countries, right? That men wanted women who were heavier. Well, that's a sign that she has food, resources, is like more likely that I'm not going to starve. So we can see that. We've actually seen, there's studies that show that like as men climb the socioeconomic ladder, they want thinner wives. And but that's not the point. The objective point I was saying was hip to waist ratio, that there is one.
Okay, yeah, there is one.
That there is one, which is an indication of fertility and clear skin. There's no, like even when I look at Cardi B, or I think Megan Thee Stallion is actually very attractive. When I look at her, I think she's crazy as shit, but I think she's very attractive. When I look at her, it's clear skin and it's facial symmetry. Those things I don't think.
Of course, yes. Obviously, acne versus, I'm not saying it's subjective whether people
like
are like
a dead body versus a living body.
What I'm saying is that you put like a 5 foot tall Ukrainian model and you put a 5 foot thick, sexy Latina girl, and you're gonna get men who think like that is.
But here's the difference.
Hugely
here's
subjective.
The difference, though. They'd sleep with both of them.
Of course.
Yes.
But my point is,
that's my point.
So that's why I think this 1 to 10 thing that every red pill makes us do.
Oh no, I don't care. I don't care about the 1 to 10.
Yeah.
My point is. What I said is beauty is there is subjectivity within the objectivity. Meaning, like for instance, we'll do the same thing with flavors. You might like chocolate or vanilla ice cream, but you don't like chocolate or poop ice cream. You don't like because poop has sulfur smell in it. It's within this zone of objectivity. There's this little cone of subjectivity, and within that cone, you'll find. And
See, I think the cone is bigger with the subjectivity.
So I think if you were, because you're a woman looking at other women, you feel that way. If you were an alien species looking at women, you'd be like, yeah, they kind of all, the really attractive ones. Like, do you guys think that Selma Hayek in Dusk Till Dawn was attractive? Like, we all thought she was attractive.
Yeah, of course.
That's my point. Like, when you looked at Margot Robbie.
Sydney Sweeney looks like she's down.
Shh. Yeah. So the thing is, Margot Robbie in Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
You remember the hubbub? Everyone's like, man, she was so attractive. Because what did we see? We saw a small waist, we saw clear skin, and we saw facial
But
symmetry.
now they're saying she's mid in Barbie.
Yeah, because she's older. I don't think she's mid.
What?
And by the way, I also don't think she's mid for reasons. I think she's a fantastic actress.
Yeah.
I actually did not like the Barbie movie and thought she was terrific in it. I thought she was absolutely, like, she did really good.
But doesn't that prove, like you just said that, oh my God, this is like the beacon of beauty, but there was a whole controversy because your community was calling her mid.
Hey, if you want to connect with influencers, top models, and high status gentlemen, hit the link below and I will show you how for free.